Student leaders are the key to a thriving movement. They can lead from up front, small groups, outreaches, and in every other part of the ministry. Let's talk about why students should lead and how to empower them to do so.
Student leadership is our North Star. And that term North Star means a guiding principle that keeps us moving in the right direction. Student leadership creates strong campus movements, and it may be much easier for adults to lead or make decisions or take action, but it's far better to help students take the lead. The principle of student leadership guides the decisions we make, how we spend our time, where we invest our energy, small groups, evangelism, big meetings. We view them all through the lens of student leadership.
Why do we have student leaders? Student leaders are uniquely positioned to reach their campus. Students are insiders on their campus. They spend 8 hours a day on campus and understand their culture better than we ever will. Many of them have known their friends since elementary school and spend every day with them. There's nobody positioned better to reach a campus than a student.
Leadership grows their faith. One of the main reasons we want to reach the campus is to help students grow in their faith. When students take a step into leadership, they learn to depend on God, the Word, and His Holy Spirit. Barna's research shows that when students are challenged to engage in spiritual leadership, they own their faith more and it solidifies their commitment to Christ.
They're capable of leading. As adults, we're tempted to believe that we're here to reach students and that they can't really lead. The truth is that students are already leading in many places on their campuses. They lead on their sports teams, in their drama department, and in their band. But often in Christian spaces, students are under-challenged. Not only can students lead, but often they're more effective than adults. When a student is sharing, other students listen. And when a younger student sees an older student leading, they often will have a desire to lead too. They see leadership as something they can do and begin to step into positions of greater influence in the movement. Not only that, but there are many places where adults are not able to lead. Either the schools don't allow it, or there are no adults willing to step up. And in many of those situations, we see students thriving as they step up and lead.
It's what Jesus did. Jesus was constantly calling his followers into ministry. He sent his disciples out 2 by 2 when they did not feel ready, and that is how they began their ministry training. Challenging students to lead is very similar. Even if we don't feel that they are ready, challenging them to lead will grow their faith, just like it did with the early disciples. Just like the early disciples, sometimes they will fail, sometimes they will succeed, but they will definitely grow.
So, how do we make this practical? First, be transferable. As a youth leader, we want you to become deeply involved in the movement, but we also want you to remember that students can do what you're doing and should. We want everything we do to be transferable, easy for the student to pick up and lead. Try to make it a habit to use materials that are easy for students to lead and to make the movement simple enough for students to lead themselves. One rule of thumb is don't do any ministry that students can't do themselves.
When your movement is transferable, you can give it away. It can be a difficult step to entrust important ministry to students, but it is the only way to help them really thrive as leaders. One way to give it away is through a simple process called MAWL, M-A-W-L, model skills, assist them as they practice, watch them lead on their own, and leave it in their hands. This process will help you develop students who know how to lead well and can multiply themselves into other students. It is always easier to just do it yourself, but so much good happens when you give ministry away. Look for ways you can give students more responsibility in every aspect of your movement.
Encourage them to lead where they are. Students don't have to have leadership positions before they can lead. Encourage them to lead wherever they find themselves. Have them take a step of faith and share their testimony with their friends. Ask to lead part of their next small group or share their faith with their friends at school. God has already put them in places that need leaders. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever can be trusted with small things can also be trusted with big things." So encourage your students to be faithful and lead where they are and see how God increases their influence.
As opportunities arise, challenge your students to more leadership. Invite them to help plan the meetings, put on an outreach with their friends, or lead up front at their club meetings. Your role is to help them find a position and challenge them to lead. Sometimes they need an invitation, sometimes an encouragement, and sometimes you might need to nudge them a little.
Finally, Whether students lead well or drop the ball, reward the faithfulness. They just did a hard thing, and that warrants a celebration. Tell them the good things you saw them do and how God can use their abilities in His kingdom. Show them how much you value them by giving them a small gift, taking them for a soda or ice cream, or writing them a note. Never pass up an opportunity to celebrate a student taking a step of faith.
Student leadership is key to a healthy movement. So next time you think of doing something yourself, first ask, which student could do this? And watch as your movement soars to new heights.